Good morning, YouTube. All right, I'm about to give y'all a little treat, and it's one of the best things you'll ever eat. I'm gonna make a chocolate chip cookie, but I'm doing it with a little different method. We're gonna use browned butter, and the result is kind of stupendous. This is the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. You know, not bragging or anything. All right, let's cook, y'all. We got a family to treat. All right, so we are starting our cookies. We're doing this a little bit differently. Normally we do butter in the mixer.
I'd be careful saying cookies.
That's true. This one is a cookie monster. All right. You know what? We'll probably have to give him one. Listen, that's Tango. Tango is crazy for you-know-whats. All right, so normally we start creaming butter and sugar together. In this case, we're making our brown butter, and we are going to simply toast our butter over gentle heat. You don't have to crank the heat way up. So really all we're doing is kind of letting it melt, and then we're going to cook it until the milk solids toast. Probably 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to keep my heat kind of low because I do tend to get distracted and I don't want to burn it while I turn around to go do something else. So this is all we're doing for the next 10 to, let's give it 15 minutes. See what it's doing? You can hear what it's doing. That's a touch higher than I think it needs to be. The butter has melted and the milk solids are starting to cook. So I'm going to turn it down just a hint, and then we're just going to keep going until it turns nice and beautiful brown and nutty. All right, so a little bit of patience, and you can see it's beginning to deepen in color. So this is cooked for long enough for me to slice 4 onions. So there you go, maybe 4 minutes. All right, we're just going to keep going. All right, I just turned the heat off, but this is exactly what you want. It smells so good. As soon as you get it to that point, you'll be able to smell how deep and rich and intense those flavors are. All right, so we do have to chill that before we use it. So I personally like to just put it in my mixing bowl that I'm going to use, and then I stick the whole shebang in the freezer for about half an hour. You don't want to freeze it frozen. You just want to firm it back up so that you can cream it with your butter and sugar. All right, watch the back of my pan. Sorry about that, guys. Hot. Really trying not to kill myself with hot butter. And that's a terrible angle, and I know it, and I apologize. There we go. All in. Make sure you get all those brown bits on the bottom of the pan. Okay, there you go. We're stick it in the fridge or the freezer, just long enough for it to get nice and solid. All right, let's finish off our cookies. So our butter, see that? It got solid again. And I pulled it out before it had a chance to really get hard, because now we're going to do the creaming process with the sugar. So I've got 1 cup of dark brown sugar, and I've got half a cup of white sugar. I don't know why I thought putting it on that plate was a good idea, except I wanted to show y'all. I guess I wanted to show you what a cup and a half a cup look like. Thank you, Ricky. Ricky's getting our cookie sheets ready. Oh, plugging it in would help. There we go. All right, so we're just going to turn this on. We're going to start kind of slow. I'm sorry about the light, y'all. It's only 2 o'clock, but it's rainy / snowy, and it's gotten really dark, and I apologize. All right, so this is absolutely one of those situations where you constantly want to stop and scrape down your bowl. Oh, a little bit that was cold on the bottom. That did solidify. So this is all I'm going to do for a couple of minutes, until I get my butter and sugar fully creamed together. And I'll come back and show you what it looks like when we get that far. Here we go. That's what we're after. Now, you all know how good butter and sugar tastes when it's been creamed together. Wait until you get a little nip of that brown butter with the dark brown sugar. Nirvana. Okay, so a couple things. We're going to add a tablespoon of vanilla. And then we're going to add 2 eggs. Just one at a time. And we're going to stop and we're going to scrape down our bowl again. And then we're going to throw our dry ingredients in here. You really, really want to get to the bottom of this bowl with your beater. All right, now I've got 2 1/4 cups. Let me scoot this back a second. I've got 2 1/4 cups of just plain all-purpose flour. And to this, I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of baking soda. And you don't have to get too persnickety or precious with it, but you want to mix it up a little bit because you don't want to overbeat your cookie dough once you've added your flour in there, because the more you mix it, once your flour gets wet, the more you mix it, the more you'll develop the gluten. And don't skip the salt, y'all. Salt helps gluten hold its structure. You do need a little bit of gluten in here. All right, here we go. Let's bring this guy back over here. Ricky, will you mind checking my onions again over there, bud? Thank you. Making sure we've got everything mixed. We want a very homogeneous mixture. I get an A for vocab. Okay, so our flour comes in here. And I've got the oven preheated to 375 degrees. And I've got a couple baking sheets. Why do I always use these stupid plates to do this? Makes no sense. And yet I do it anyway. I've got a couple baking sheets that we sprayed just with cooking spray. You don't really need cooking spray for the cookies, but it makes parchment paper stick better. So we have parchment lined baking sheets. All right. I'm not gonna make you watch me scrape down the bowl. Give me half a second and I'll be back. All right, so scrape down my bowl and made sure I had all the flour out. Okay, so we have a nice even mixture and it's gonna be kind of thick. So then we want our chocolate, and I've got 2 kinds of chocolate right here. I have semi-sweet chocolate chips, but I also have, not semi-sweet, those are bittersweet. I also have 3.5 ounces of a chocolate bar that I just ran my knife through. Bittersweet. You can do semi-sweet if you want to. I like the bittersweet against the brown sugar. And I think if you wanted to get just, you know, over the top, stupid, ridiculous, which I usually don't mind doing. When you finish these cookies, you could drizzle them with caramel. That might be too, no, there's no such thing as too much. Okay. We are going to flip around and go to our baking sheets. All right, so we just turned around. I've got my baking sheets ready. So the cooking spray is not for the cookies, but it does help your parchment paper stick. And I'm just gonna take a scooper. This one is a 1.5 tablespoon scooper. I like to do 12 to 15 per sheet, depending on how crazy I get. But dishing them out like this means your cookies are all gonna be the same size, which means you're gonna get a really consistent bake. All right, so 12 cookies per sheet for me. And then we're gonna pop these into our 375-degree oven. I'm gonna check them at 12 minutes. That is my guess. But you're gonna have a range on these from 10 to 14 minutes, okay? I want them to be a bit crispy on the edges and soft in the center. All right, 12 minutes. All right, I gotta move fast because these are not gonna last because Bladen has now discovered them. Ricky wants me to remind you that these actually went 14 minutes. And the cookie dough itself, I mean, I know cookie dough is good, but I think Bladen has probably eaten 2 pounds of it. And I don't blame him. So part of it is the brown butter, of course, and then you've got that dark brown sugar. So you kind of end up with this caramelly, butterscotchy kind of thing that happens. And we have the chocolate, and I don't have any idea what I actually called it the first time around, but what we had was a bittersweet chocolate bar and dark chocolate chips. Once I thought about that, I thought, well, I don't know if I said that the right way. But these are the cookies, and I'm gonna hurt myself. Whoop! Bladen, I see you. Stop it. Holy crap. That's the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. I don't mind saying it.